city you burn, I'm gonna build one high.
Greetings, fellow Empyreans. I am Ashrathi, the voice of New Eden, and my puppy is being a distraction at the moment. How's it going, guys? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Like the stream. Welcome if you're new. We've got some news today. Today is probably going to be a shorter stream, just because there aren't, like, we have some news to go over. I was, I don't know. I was, torn about whether or not to do it today or tomorrow, but there's enough stuff going on that's a big enough deal and time sensitive enough that I felt like streaming or like going live to give it the information to you as early as possible. So yeah, if you want me to go live, even if I don't have that much to do and it's a shorter stream, make sure to like the stream and let me know, so that way and even consider becoming a supporter, so that way you can bitch at me in the supporter channel that I need to go live. What are you doing, dog? Dog. Okay. This is not what we're doing here today. Let me eat the last of my yogurt. Oh gosh. All right. That's all she wants. That's all she wants. Okay. Whew. Now that's out of the way. Hit the like button. That's right. Please. All right. We do have some stuff to go over about EVE Online, EVE Echo. No, not EVE Echoes. EVE Galaxy Conquest, and EVE Frontiers. But the name of the episode is Out with the Old, In with the New. So this is the beginning, like the first thing that we got to talk about today is the activity tracker is being discontinued. Some of you are going to be really sad. At least one person's going to be really mad. And there's a whole bunch of people who are going to be like, what's the activity tracker? So basically, back in 2018, CCP was working on new ways of kind of keeping track of metrics and like hooking into events that happen that players do. And as part of this experiment, this was like part of the, like when they were working on stuff for like event sites and stuff, things for triggers, so that way like completing tasks, all that kind of stuff, amounted in the activity tracker, which was effectively a sniffer on your activity that would like detect what you're doing and then keep track of it, right? It was just a now what's interesting is that, so the activity tracker comes from like a previous era, right? What? Crunching it. Like that. So when the activity tracker first was released, you guys might not believe this, but oh my god. How much is that? I don't even know. I mean, it's a lot because it's a red. Thank you, Stoic. I really appreciate it. Wow. Thank you very, very, very much. Wow. Okay. I just looked up how much that was. I really, really appreciate it. That's definitely gonna go a long ways to making a good Christmas for my son and my pets. So, wow. Thank you so much. I don't know how else to respond to that besides just thank you. Whew. Should I keep going on the activity tracker now? Wow. Okay. Let me take a second. Thank you very much. All right. So, in 2018, when they introduced the activity tracker, the player base was adamant that CCP add nothing to it to like incentivize rewards, right? So the idea was that, like, especially back then, you know, there's this strong idea that like players should be doing player things because of player motivations. And so anything that felt like CCP was putting some sort of arbitrary reward to force you to do other content, right? They didn't like. This is back when they did like the 10,000 skill points for killing like one rat kind of thing. Now, obviously, we've come a long way since then, right? We've crossed that Rubicon pretty significantly. The air daily goals would have been impossible back then. But and if that's confusing to a lot of people, you got to realize that like EVE Online, the EVE player base understood that their game was niche and often saw EVE as being an alternative to other concepts within the gaming sphere, right? So in this case, so basically, if something is being done in other games, that could be seen as a reason to not like it in EVE, right? This premise of like, go back to WoW. Anytime you said, okay, well, there should be some sort of group finder available. I mean, they have it in WoW. Well, go back to WoW, right? If you tried to like cite another game as having mechanics that was nice, and therefore you wanted it to be in EVE, that was actually an argument against it being brought into EVE by the EVE player base, right? So, in the same way, this idea, the activity tracker, was seen as a little bit too close to achievements to make people happy. Now, I've done many episodes talking about how, like, with Bartle's taxonomy, there's killers, socializers, achievers, and explorers. And killers suppress achievers, explorers suppress killers, and socializers are self-reinforcing. CCP has always had a strong killer player base. And killer, by the way, just means that you like to impact other players for positive or for negative. It's just often is seen as being killer. Whereas achievers are all about getting big numbers, accomplishing big goals, etc., etc. So obviously, achievers who care about something get upset when they get killed by the killers, which is why killers suppress achievers. And explorers, who are often looking at like the edges of what can be done in a video game, either don't care when they die because they die a lot because they're experimenting, or worse yet, they know some sort of crazy trick that gets the killer, gets back at the killer when they get jumped. And nothing pisses off a killer than having it like backfire on them, right? So that's explorers suppress killers, killers suppress achievers. And for a very long time, EVE Online was a very killer-focused game, right? In fact, the only real achievement that you were allowed to kind of strive for was either your alliance's name on the board or your ISK wallet amount. Maybe kill boards, but, in general, all of the achievers are combat-oriented, right? And this really, in the end, hurt the player base for a very long time. Achievers didn't have a lot of space in the game. It helped make the game a lot more niche, and killers were very proud of the fact that they owned the game, right? Like, this goes back to before there was the war deck changes. You would very rarely see people in social spaces in EVE Online promoting things like mining or industry, because the only protection that you had against people trying to mess with what you're doing is to be quiet, is to have nobody know what you're trying to do, right? And so the public space, the narrative of discussion was largely controlled by the killer population, which again, don't like achievers. So when the activity tracker came in, it was very much rejected by a large percentage of the player base and only really accepted because it didn't really have an impact. And, this was a period of compromise by CCP. And so, yeah, there was like the activity tracker itself is broadly like it doesn't have any practical function besides just keeping track of things. In addition to that, because it was just a technical, basically just a cool thing that they got out of the other tech that they were working on at the time, it didn't really see a lot of support after the fact. And so it's been kind of wonky since its inception. You know, it doesn't always track things correctly, et cetera, et cetera. I can actually open up my activity tracker right now. One of the best ways to open up activity tracker, which is one of the things that I wonder if that's going to change. Obviously, it has to change, but you open up the agency and you go to the different sections of the agency, you should be able to see like there's a number down here. That's actually based on your activity tracker progress in that thing. So I can open this up and I can see my activity tracker. And, you know, so I've done quite a bit of combat. I've golded non-capsuleer combat. I've got almost 4s across the board in capsuleer combat. You know, we can see that I've done a couple of incursions. I've done a lot of abyssal dead space. I've apparently done quite a bit of salvaging. I did think it was funny that, like, faction warfare... where is faction warfare? I did have to earn my place in faction warfare again, because most of the faction warfare stuff that happened most of my time in that faction warfare happened before the activity tracker existed, so I didn't have anything here at all, but now I do, which is nice. But it's all, this whole thing is going to go away, right? This whole thing is going to go away. Now, the reason why is because, so there is a concept in, yes, it was a proof of concept for Quasar. That's what it was. Thank you, Oki. That's right. This was just basically to show us what Quasar was doing in the background. And Quasar was like their tool for keeping track of what was happening in the game. This is where a lot of their new metrics and stuff that they have was coming from. So, anywho, I imagine that what happened was, however this was built in a very specific way, and it's hard to add new things to it. I don't know if this is a technical thing or just a UI thing. If you look, there's not a lot of room left in this area. So, you know, if you were to, say, add insurgencies onto here, like, where are you going to put them? And so, unfortunately, what that meant was, like, there is abyssal dead space, but there is no invasions. There is no, like, a lot of the features that they come out with, there's no events on here. Anything new that they come up with didn't really get added to this because there wasn't any support for it. And then, when it came time to do the next thing, it seemed pretty obvious that instead of upgrading the activity tracker, they instead decided to build new things on top of that, right? So this is a thing called feature accretion. This is very, very, very common in old school video games, and EVE Online is pretty good at avoiding this a lot of the time, but this is a good example of it. So feature accretion is when so you see this a lot in currencies or like World of Warcraft, right? Like, oh, well, our balance is, you know, we've gone through an entire expansion. The balance is a specific way. We want to introduce new cool things that people want to do, but like, updating the old stuff is hard, either for technical reasons or social reasons or whatever. So rather than, you know, balance the economy or the features that we have, we're going to build a new feature that effectively replaces it. So a good example of this in EVE is posses and structures, right? They went to go try to fix posses, and then they realized, oh shit, it would take us so much effort to fix posses that it's just not even worth it to us. In fact, it's so not worth it to us, it's just easier for us to start from scratch and build an entirely new feature that simply replaces posses rather than fix posses. So we got upwell structures instead. That is an example of feature accretion. Another example of feature accretion is this. We have this activity tracker, and it was built with specific requirements in mind. It was built around the concept of the Quasar tracking system, and therefore, if you want to do anything else besides that, you're kind of SOL. Hi. And so in order to kind of take on the next step, rather than upgrade the activity tracker, they instead just simply introduced opportunities. And opportunities and the Air daily goals function in a very similar way to the activity tracker in the fact that it keeps track of your activities, but now they're rewarding those activities. So now they have these two different systems that operate in parallel with each other that are both showing you what you've done and what you should be doing, right? And so it looks to me like they are actually shuttering the old activity tracker. And I'm assuming that's, and I'm not just assuming, this is based on what is in the post. They say here, the activity tracker introduced in 2018 was a groundbreaking tool for its time, tracking and showcasing player progression in a visually engaging way. However, several years later, it relies on outdated technology that limits further development and offers no interactive features or rewards. Yeah, so they moved on with the tech that made it work. And the fact that it has no incentives ended up being kind of a problem now, because in the modern day, whenever I talk to people about the activity tracker, the very first thing that they say is, well, it sucks that there's no rewards for it. So they are instead sunsetting this enables us to focus on and commit to enhancing our air career program and strengthening ESI infrastructure in 2025. In time, we will make activity data accessible through ESI and Excel add-in while enhancing the ACP. That's the Air Career Program. A system built to deliver meaningful progression and rewards. Our future vision includes integration of a modern activity tracker into the ACP, one that is designed to recognize and celebrate player milestones and ensuring every step of your journey through New Eden is recognized and rewarded. So again, this is no longer like a side issue, right? They were working on Quasar, and because they were working on Quasar, they happened to make the activity tracker as like a side thing. This is a full-on effort by CCP to increase the Air Career Program and to add more opportunities and opportunity functionality into the game. So rather than update the activity tracker, which may or may not be feasible, instead they're just shuttering it so that way they can replace it effectively. And I actually think that that's good. I think that that's good. I think that that's a fair thing for them to acknowledge. I think that it has been very confusing for both the activity tracker and opportunities to exist. I think that we're losing something with opportunities. I think that it would be nice for them to take the features, or at least the goals of activity tracker, and bring it over to opportunities. One of the things, for example, that I've always wanted is I want to be able to look at a history of all of my previous events, right? I want to be able to see, oh, I got this many points this winter event. I got this many points at this event. I got this many points in this event. There's a lot of different opportunities for us to be able to build our legacy. And I feel like that's one of the things that CCP, even though EVE Online is all about building your story, all about building your legacy, we don't have very many tools in game that allows us to actually do that. So anything that's in that direction, I think, is good. Also, talking about doing ESI infrastructure in 2025 makes my heart warm. It makes me think that, like, it's a good thing that we had that the ESI specialist that got joined onto the CSM. ESI is an important, the third-party development is a very important piece of EVE Online. And the ESI not having really good support from CCP has hurt both third-party developers and EVE, because, third-party, when the ESI is a very crude tool in a lot of ways. And so, for instance, Hilmar has bemoaned the fact that things like the kill board allows really good intel for people. But and there's so many new features that have no ESI component to it, even though it probably should. That it's if you're gonna have something like the ESI, if you're gonna have something like the API, you got to maintain it. So overall, it is sad to see the activity tracker go, but I think that this is a sign and a portent of good things coming. Totally agree with you on your analysis on killers from the early years. I had started to use the tracker since I came back, but heyo, Hope something new will replace it or some other system takes over. Yeah, and that's the thing is that like right now, what's missing with the opportunities is a sense of legacy, right? ESI is best with the new Google Sheets plugin and stuff now. Well, I think that the the Excel add-in plugin is separate from the ESI. They are similar. I mean, and I think that it probably uses some of the same components. But technically speaking, I think the Microsoft deal is separate from the ESI. Whoop. They have information the ESI, I'm pretty sure, doesn't have. Gessie, though, so the difference is Gessie is a tool made by players, and the Sheets, the Excel add-in is straight up made by CCP in conjunction with Microsoft. So it may have some powers that normal ESI doesn't have. When they talk about ESI, I wonder if they consider bringing in any of the tech they mentioned in the eFrontiers stream. We're going to talk about eFrontiers. It's definitely one of the things we're talking about. I think that eFrontiers, like, if anything, eFrontier proves that sort of stuff is not coming to EVE Online. Because once again, if you were going to do that in EVE Online, you wouldn't need to make eFrontiers. CCP has been wanting to do certain things with the tech with eFrontiers or with EVE Online for a while, but you know the engine is already built in. It's a 20-plus-year-old game, and Hilmar has kind of mused about what he would like to improve, and it really looks like eFrontiers is where he's kind of playing around with those sorts of things. Let's look at that. I think that's it for the activity tracker. Shoot, actually, hold on. I messed up. Give me a second. eFrontiers official trailer. Here we go. So now, what I'd like to do is we're going to talk about eFrontiers for a little bit, guys. We're going to talk about eFrontiers. Yes, it's the crypto game, but bear with me, okay? We have a lot to talk about when it comes to it. They just released a new video about it, and what? Shh. Stop. Oh yeah, that's right. You can't hear it. Haha, perfect. Could make up some lore crap up in EVE about being weapons being warp capable. That would make shooting through objects make sense. Yeah. Okay. Is Frontiers connected to the Hakutua coin? Yes. No. Okay. So before we jump into this, let's talk a little bit about what we're looking at, okay? So, and I feel like I need to stress this every single time we talk about this. eFrontiers is not taking development effort or money away from EVE Online. If anything, it's almost the opposite of that, right? Effectively, what happened was there was a bunch of venture capitalists that were into Bitcoin and other crypto stuff. And the thing is that when you're into crypto, what you are most motivated on is getting people convinced that crypto is a good thing, right? That crypto can be okay. That crypto is a cool technology for cool people. So in that sense, why? Okay, whatever. In that sense, like they needed there to be a good video game for crypto. Now, other attempts have happened involving crypto before. I know Ubisoft did something at one point, and they have been pretty catastrophically failured, right? But so these guys pulled together, I think it was $50 million worth of venture capitalist money that was just bouncing around looking for a game company to invest in to make a game that would make crypto work, right? That would make crypto mean something. And at GDC one year, Hilmar met with those crypto bros and convinced those crypto bros that he was their guy. Okay. And so they gave Hilmar $50 million to build a crypto game. Now, Hilmar, like CCP hired new talent. There were a couple people that got transferred over, but for the most part, it's a totally separate production that's divorced from anything when it comes to Tranquility. And then honestly, this is actually really good for us if you don't want crypto in EVE Online, the main game. It's really good the fact that they put all of that effort into EVE Frontier instead of EVE Online. That's how we got no NFTs in EVE Online. So one of the things that's worth noting when we watch this video is the fact that they never mentioned the word crypto a single time during the entire presentation. Okay? This game is not sold as a crypto game. The only thing that you're going to hear in here that is crypto related is the name of the structures being smart structures, based on the idea that smart contracts can be built in Ethereum. So in a lot of ways, EVE Frontiers is a crypto game because it uses blockchain technology in the back end in order to make it so that, things can be independent of the game itself. For instance, smart structures. But as a player of the game, it doesn't feel like a crypto game. It doesn't, it's not in your face that you're playing a crypto game. You're not buying things with Ethereum or anything like that. But let's look at this and then we're going to talk about it. Yeah, smart contract. So Ethereum blockchain created a programming language to allow you to make smart contracts, which are basically Ethereum blocks that have logic to them. And so EVE Frontier uses that to make it so that so you can one of the examples that I've been given was like a fuel depot, right? In this game, everything needs fuel. So you could have like a gas station that has fuel in it, and then people can pay currency into that and get fuel out. And the rules behind that structure and how it works is held on the blockchain. What the hell is the blockchain? Do I have to buy the BPO? Blockchain is just a technology. Basically, it's a database with a public ledger. That's it. That's all it is. Stop thinking about this as being too complicated. It is just a database with a public ledger. That's it. So, yes, Folding Ideas' video on crypto is fantastic. All right, let's listen to this, though.
Welcome Awakened. We are excited to showcase our current development build to you today and provide insight into our space survival simulation, EVE Frontier. Please note that all footage is non-final and does not fully represent our vision for EVE Frontier at launch.
While he says that, I do want to also stress that this is all in-game footage. I'm pretty sure.
EVE Frontier is an online multiplayer sandbox where you will awaken, explore, and survive in the harshness of space as you traverse a galaxy known as the Frontier. It is a place of decay and danger, a shattered expanse that saw past colonization efforts wilt and perish from its brutality. Now, the Long Dark is all that remains, covered with crumbling mysterious ruins and infested by feral AI, a long shadow cast by our ancient sins. At its center, the Trinary, 3 hypermassive black holes, is bound in a dance macabre, perpetually shaping the fabric of space into a constant flux of unpredictable cosmological variance and turmoil.
So something to point out here, and we have talked about Frontier in previous videos, but I'm going to assume that people haven't really been paying that much attention to it. So Eve Frontiers takes place in a different area of space than Eve Online. It does not take place in the in the New Eden cluster. It takes place in the Trinary, which is these. Basically, there's these 3 supermassive black holes that move around and creates pockets of stability and instability. And it just so happens that we're in a phase of we're entering into a phase of stability. But according to the lore, we can go here and check out about the frontier. Is this going to be it? I don't know. I'll have to pull it up. There is... Yeah, here we go. Stillness. We see this... Nope, that's not it. We went over this in another video. Yeah, the trinary is not in the correct configuration for a new cycle. Instead, my oblivion is stirred by a distant echo of violence. One of our long-range sensor arrays have felt a murder of a star and the subsequent tremor in the stillness, and carried by the ripples, one simple fragment of music. So there is a lot of prediction by people that what they're talking about here is the murder of the star would be W477 TAC-P, Caroline Star's detonation. They do say a technological signature and evidence of a human society somewhere out there. The simulations reconstructing this sparse data into synthetic specter of civilizations are vague but pregnant with possibilities. A tangle of culture, politics, and history that is complex but strikingly familiar. It speaks of empires, corporate behemoths, and expansion spheres blooming into the unknown. A lost tribe capable of great beauty and destruction. So the implication is that this is happening somewhere else, but possibly around the same time as EVE Online as we know it. This is important because what they've managed to do here is they've made the 2 games that are disconnected by space. It is going to be physically impossible to travel from New Eden to the frontier. However, infomorphs don't have to travel through space, right? Like, if you could beam information from New Eden to the frontier, you could actually transfer your character from one side to the other. I'm not saying that they haven't said anything about that, but it really does feel like that's one of the things that they're setting up here.
As a newly awakened rider, you'll be thrown into a desperate world full of death and suffering.
I think I just answered Noxum's question.
But also ripe with potential. In a vast galaxy of over 100,000 star systems, who will you become? The experience that we are meticulously crafting is one of constant dread and suspense, alternating between the intimate violence of claustrophobic trench-run encounters and a cold vertigo of surgical sniping skirmishes. Among the ancient ruins of the frontier's megastructures, the arms race of strategic doctrines and tactical mastery will present an ever-evolving landscape of realistic, deep...
Ah, here we go. Here's the actual game UI. Perfect. Do that. Make it a little bit bigger. So we can see... Actually, can I go like this? So down here... Oh, it's just numbers. I can't figure out what anything is. But we can see we have a targeting reticle where they have something targeted. There's like blocks and resources and stuff. This looks, this is inventory. Oh, we have the speedometer because that's max 613 meters per second. And we have some modules down here. We've got 2 guns and what looks like an afterburner, and the guns have ammunition in it. And then we have what looks like a neocom off to the side.
Space warfare will present an ever-evolving landscape of realistic deep space warfare. The act of firing your weapon is just the tail end of a myriad of decisions prior, from the counterplay of stealth and detection to hyper-optimized combat logistics. Thanks to physical line of sight and tactical control mechanics, the debris fields of the frontier can provide timely cover for an emergency escape, or just as likely hide a deadly ambush. The information available to you will be imperfect and incomplete. Your awareness and manual piloting are equally, if not more important, than numerical advantage.
So this goes back to what I was saying. Like, the idea that... Hold on. Let me fix it. So the idea that, like, a lot of the things that CCP, especially Hilmar, has said in the past, things like line of sight, things like the need for fuel, whatever, we can see that being played out in Eve Frontier. It very much feels like, CCP was like, well, if we made Eve Online today, and this is the thing, is that, like, this is the quote-unquote threat of Eve Frontier, is that it looks like Eve Frontier is Eve 2 without CCP calling it Eve 2.
We are making sure no outcome is truly guaranteed in Eve Frontier, including no open information on the presence of other riders in the vicinity through communication features.
Did you hear what he just said? Hold on. Did you hear? Let's listen to that one more time.
Is truly guaranteed in Eve Frontier, including...
Okay, I'm trying really hard.
No open information. No outcome is truly guaranteed in Eve Frontier, including no open information on the presence of other riders in the vicinity through communication features.
No local.
The role of awareness and information economy will be holding an ever greater influence over your survival. Every step in the wilderness can be your last. Every hunter lying in wait risks becoming prey by revealing themselves to the world for just a moment too long. Will you be a defenseless miner, unaware of the hostile ship approaching, or their friend, hiding in wait to counterattack a shared foe? In Eve Frontier, entropy is central to both our story and design. It amplifies the impact of your decisions, giving them greater consequence and meaning. You will encounter our approach to entropy through crude matter, an exotic group of materials that helped past colonization efforts endure, if only temporarily.
So we can see here a ship extracting crude matter. It's a mineable resource, as it were.
A source of
even if there is D-scan, you can still line of sight protect. Like if somebody's hiding behind the asteroid, you won't see them.
conflict and desire. Crude was and continues to be heavily relied upon, powering all technology within the frontier. You must harvest it from rifts, local phenomena that seem to tear apart the fabric of space with their unpredictable emergence, then refine and develop it into fuel products. Everything consumes crude matter derivatives one way or another.
So there you go. Everything is controlled by fuel. So just operating the ship, in EVE Online, you don't have to worry about fuel for warping or just general operation. In EVE Frontiers, you do. There has, so there's this constant maintenance of operations in order to kind of keep things rolling.
One of the key features of EVE Frontier is that you will be rebuilding a broken world through in-game ways like shaping the Stargate network of the galaxy and through third-party development. With an openly programmable game world, players will be able to configure in-game infrastructure to serve their own needs and those of other players.
This is where the blockchain comes in, right? The structures in the game, the infrastructure, the things that we put into the sandbox ourselves are controlled through the blockchain and smart contracts, which allow us to customize the things in game in a way that couldn't be done in EVE Online.
We call this feature Smart Assemblies, and it will allow you to construct, configure, and deploy infrastructure that you own, configured with open source code. This also extends into an open and programmable economy. You'll be able to create your own currencies, establish private markets, and convert your assets, services, and reputation into real-world value. Ultimately, we are developing the ultimate open sandbox. Interacting with deployed and configured smart assembly infrastructure in-game is simple. Think of it as enhanced base building. Simply fly to one and interact with it like you would any other usable object. To ensure this open programmability is not game-breaking, Smart Assemblies, like the galaxy itself, obeys digital physics, a code layer over the simulation that means its rules are fixed and immutable, removed even from developer control. Combine different or multiple types of infrastructure, such as storage units.
See if there's anything in here that we can get. We've got ship health on the side here. No shield, no armor, and hull. We've got the Neocom. We've got afterburners. We've got gyro jet, asteroid mining laser, apocalypse protocol, asteroid mining laser. Is there anything else in here that's worth looking at? He's in the site G.3TG.7813 transstellar shipping. So, you know, there's that.
Turrets, refineries, and more to form a settlement and collaborate with your allies to upgrade it. Cooperate within the builder community to evolve this infrastructure into ever more complex systems and projects. Custom mission system to support your logistics, automated security solutions, developed market economies and complex industrial networks all the way towards a living civilization or a smouldering ruin. Thank you for watching this deep dive into eFrontier. To learn more, visit efrontier.com. To join us on this journey and access eFrontier now, acquire Founder Access, the ability to play on a live server that will see continuous updates as we continue development.
Okay, so let's look at that. We have the eFrontier. Oops. Here's the eFrontier website. And we can go Founder Access. So there are 3 levels to Founder Access. There's Awakened, which is $30. Now, it's worth noting, guys, this is the pre-sale. This right here. This page is why I'm live today. Because it was important enough to me to give you guys as much warning as possible ahead of time. And so in this case, oh man, come on green screen. So this is only for the next day and a half, right? And then the prices go up. So for right now, for $30, you can become Awakened, which gives you access to the early access, which is not live yet. I don't actually know when it goes live per se. I don't think that they've explicitly said when it goes live. Maybe in the next day and a half. I don't know. But we'll look at this in a second, okay? So this basically just gets you in. Then number 2, the $60 one gets you 2 exclusive skins. 2 months. Oh, sorry. The $30 one gives you 1 month of premium time. The $60 one gives you 2 months of premium time and a name reservation and 24-hour early start. The $90 one gives you 3 exclusive skins, 4 months of premium time, your name reservation, and 72-hour early start at launch. So that implies that the launch is at least 72 hours away. I don't actually know when it is per se, but that's something that's worth note of. Now, if you notice, it's $30 for 1 month, $60 for 2 months, but $90 for 4 months. So that's how they get away with saying it's the best value. Goes live when the pre-sale ends. I assume that the 72 hours starts when the pre-sale ends. But here are the skins. This is the basic ship. The basic ship has no designs on it. So this one has some designs on it. This one has colors. This one looks a little cool too. The Juave hull. I did look into this. Juave means road. But it's super old. Like, I don't know what any of these words mean. But it means road. Like, I don't know what... this implies to me, by the way, guys, this implies to me that this is all... This plus the fact that it's so far away. All new factions, all new races, all new... Like, you're not going to see the Serpentis. You're not going to see any of the, you know, the Amar, the Angels, or anything like that. Oh, okay. So the 72 hours at launch, alpha starts the same for everybody. Got it. So the alpha starts when the sale is over, probably. These packages are literally what every blockchain game does. It's just... This is what every game does. Yeah. Like, every game with a Founder's Access has these kinds of things. So, there you go. But, Yeah, I think it's going to be a cool game. I'm probably going to be checking it out. It does feel like it's going to be a much more hardcore version of Eve, where people are going to be having to build their civilizations up using these tools, and there's little to no intel tools. It's a much more harsher experience than current day Eve Online. But we'll have to see how it goes in the long run. Let me know if you guys are interested in picking it up or participating. Maybe we should build a group on the server to check it out. Yeah. But this is a thing that's happening. I'm actually really surprised at how fast this has come about. And like I said, we've got previous episodes where we talked about the lore of this game, etc., etc. Now I know why the Eve Gate closed. But again, like, I don't think that the blockchain is going to be even a noticeable thing to you as a player of the game, personally. I think that they've gone out of their way to kind of remove it from the blockchain. As like it has the blockchain as like I said, a backing tool for like smart contracts. Can we have the link? Yeah. Sounds like nullsec the game. Yeah, pretty much. Now, the reason why I'm kind of struggling to talk about this is because I'm trying to make sure to only talk about things that are public knowledge. But hopefully we'll be able to talk more and more and more about this stuff later. I think that a lot of the fears that people have here won't necessarily play out. All right. Next, I do want to talk about how they massacred my boy. Jumping over to Eve Galaxy Conquest, we can look at our patch notes that we was just put out yesterday for the game. Uh-oh. Hold on. Whoop. All right. So for the patch notes, we've got this is Eve Galaxy Conquest now. So this is the mobile game that we've been playing. So chief commanders can now request assistance and assisting with accelerating construction tasks of courtmates and earn loyalty points. This is actually a really big one because earning loyalty point stores is a pretty big deal. I don't know, like, the generation of loyalty points has been one of the confusing things for me. And like, as a corporation, we try to like put in the tasks to get people the loyalty points. Like, they come out of nowhere. So the idea that this might be a way for like players to kind of help each other and also generate extra loyalty points is, I think, pretty good. Okay, will eFrontier have any sort of alpha free tier access? It looks like there is a trial access. Yep. Let's see. Chief commanders can now allocate more resources to existing component manufacturing without need to cancel. This is fucking good. So basically right now you can be like, okay, start building components. But then you have to wait till that entire process is over to put in more stuff, right? If you get more of the basic materials, you can't just add it to your build. You'd have to cancel the current build and then restart it with the new amount. This just allows you to just add it to the current existing build, which is a huge quality of life improvement. A new D&D market will be available after reaching the home base level 6 with exclusive ship rigs and commander implants starting with the Dragoon, Apocalypse, Orthrus, and Jonas. The Dragoon and the Apocalypse are the premium pay to win. No, they're the items that you get for paying cash for the game. The Dragoon is not pay to win. The Apocalypse is quite strong. The Dragoon is fine, but not like as strong as, say, the Dramiel. The Orthrus and Jonas are both part of the package that unlocks first in the game. So it's the earliest package to unlock with special recruitments. And it just feels like, as Timerian put it the other day, Jonas is fetch. Like, CCP is really trying to make fetch happen here. Like, Jonas as a pilot is not great, but they are boy howdy trying to make him good. So as apparently here there's going to be a new market with implants and rigs that only work with those ships or those pilots. So there'll be implants that only go on Jonas and rigs that only go on the Dragoon or only go on the Orthrus. Which this is a slippery slope as far as I'm concerned. Like, it makes me a little bit nervous that like, okay, well, like there are special implants that tie to specific pilots. I don't know. I'm gonna have to be convinced whether or not this is okay. Added an Oracle blueprint and Apocalypse blueprint swap in the loyalty point market. This is a big one because, like I said, the Apocalypse up until now has only been able to be gotten by paying money, and even then, like, you had to pay more than the Dragoon. I think it was more than $100 to start getting the Apocalypse. So the idea that you'll be able to get the Apocalypse through one of the loyalty points markets is actually a big deal, especially when they're adding in new ways of getting loyalty points. And the Oracle right now in the game can't be gotten at all, as far as I know. So they're adding in a new way to get the Oracle as well, which is really good. The Oracle is stupid good. You think that the Dramul's good? You should read what the Oracle does. Added a recommendation feature when a chief commander is looking for a corporation to join. Sure, fine, whatever. From day 3 to 15, when a corporation is labeled inactive, chief commanders can leave and join another corporation without cooldown. This is good, because usually around that day 3 period is when you start to have people collapse, because like the groups that aren't doing as good start to lose steam. The groups that are doing better start absorbing all of the people that are part of the groups that aren't doing as good within a faction. So this helps facilitate that. Contents of in-game manual updated, sure. Added an apply officer role button on the commander UI, corporation UI, so members can apply for roles. So you can be like, hey, can I be an officer? That's kind of cool. Fleet capacitor no longer diminishes when moving in your sovereign territories. This is a big deal. This is a big deal. So capacitor is one of those things that like a lot of people don't really pay attention to, but it's very important. As you move, you lose 1 capacitor per AU, per cell that you go. And each level of capacitor below 100 gives you a 0.7% nerf to your abilities during the in a fight. Now, I actually talked about this in a previous video and was corrected. About a month ago, they did a patch that made it so that sieges don't count capacitor. You're always counted as having maximum capacitor when fighting escort fleets. But here, what they're doing is that when you're moving within your own territory, so if you have the structure within the solar system that you're in Galaxy Conquest, moving in that area will no longer cost capacitor. This is a big deal because, like, there's been so many times where I will go into a new LOSEC system, I'll move there, and then, like, I'll want to grab a level 9 square that's a ways away, and I'll have to move everybody there and then wait for their capacitor to build back up and then attack. But now, as long as it's within your territory, you can move all you want without causing capacitor. This makes capacitor almost exclusively a PvP thing and almost exclusively in like an invasion thing. It's a home field advantage, you know? The people who are projecting into somebody else's space is going to lose capacitor and therefore lose combat effectiveness. The people that are in their own space, they are going to keep their capacitor. Now, what's interesting about this is that we have a lot of things like logistics arrays that help improve people's capacitor that are almost useless now within your own territory because people aren't going to be losing capacitor the way they were before. The impact of fleet capacitor has been updated and now functions as the follows. 20% reduction in damage when the capacitor is lower than 80%, and 50% reduction in damage when lower than 50%. So instead of doing 0.7 per turn, or per point like I just talked about, instead there's just going to be 2 stages. If your capacitor is below 80%, then you lose 20% of your power, and if it's below 50%, then you lose 50% of your power. But it's not like a granular thing anymore. A grid with no structures can now hold 99 fleets. Not really that relevant. Guard options for fleets will be unavailable until reaching home base level 8. This is actually a really big deal because in early fights, you know, when we're fighting over Stargates in the early game, or even structures, the idea of like setting somebody to guard there and having people attack it That's a big piece of the strategy. Home base level 8 is very deep into production. I was actually going to create a new guide with stuff, and I was going to say that, like, after home base level 6, it's probably about time to stop pushing for your home bases hard, because you've got other things to spend your resources on. You've got things like the control tower, you've got things like the refineries to build. Anything past that has a lot more diminishing returns when it comes to like power for investment. And so home base level 8 is pretty far into the game's like the process of the game, at least a week or two into the actual match before anybody's going to have home base level 8. So this basically takes guard off the table for the early game. When rallying directly to friend stations or stargates, fleets will auto-transfer to the stargate or station. This is a big deal, but it's more of a quality of life thing, okay? So if somebody puts up a rally and you... So let's say... Actually, this happened just the other day, right? One of our structures came under attack, and Malik put a rally up to defend it. And I can send people to that rally, but then just like every other rally, they get there, they sit on the square for the rally, and then they're just idle. They're just like, meh, I'm cool. So I have to wait till they're there and then transfer them over. Or, and here's the key thing, it's better to ignore the rally completely and just transfer them to the structure. Because when you transfer somebody, they travel twice as fast and they don't consume capacitor. Now, granted, you're now in friendly territory, so it probably won't consume capacitor anyways, but it's still, when you're transferring, you do travel faster than when you're just deploying. So now, rather than having to cancel out of the rally and then manually deploy them, or manually transfer them to that structure, if you put a rally on a friendly structure, they will just transfer to that structure directly, which is a much better way of handling it. Removed Amelie from NPC defending fleets. That's actually pretty funny. If you go down to suggestions, we will see it's early. It's an earlier one. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? No! There was one, somebody had put in, actually it was Titan, who's one of the more knowledgeable people in the Discord, had put in a thing asking for the removal of Amelie. Maybe they removed it now. Hold on. Here it is. 16 upvotes, 14 comments. So the reason why is this. Ameline has this power called decoder error. And what decoder error does is... yeah, Titan has been pushing for it hard. Decoder error makes it so that there's a chance that when you do something, it targets a random person instead of the target that you would like it to target. And so, especially since they give you Serb, Serb has an ability. Serb's primary ability is this giant bomb nuke, right? And so the issue is that Amelie was Emil rather, was a popular defender on various different squares. And so regardless of how powerful you are, or how powerful they are, if you go in, there is like a 20% chance that you just bomb the shit out of your own team and cause an incredible amount of damage to yourself, right? Like, if you overpowered the site, you would actually kill yourself because she's making you attack yourself, as opposed to just overwhelming the site, which would be kind of what you would expect, right? And in PvE, when you're talking about taking over cells and like doing this over and over and over again, you really need to, like, any major loss, even if you win the fight, if you lose a bunch of components, that can be a huge setback. And so this ended up being this very annoying thing. It's actually one of the reasons why, like, Flaherty was really good right now, because he can remove debuffs off of people. But the problem is that this decoder error in particular has a 100% trigger chance, and it happens at the beginning of the game. So it happens during the prep period. And so, like, from turn 1, you're already decoder errored, you're already messed up. So removing her from that will make taking NPC structures and cells far more consistent. Hold on. Punch, I'm cloaked. Punch is sitting here trying to kill me while I'm streaming. Good job, thanks. Oh, I'm just kidding. Yeah. So that was a big problem. I'm glad that they fixed it. Starting from, okay, so here's the other one. Starting from server 36, which is the next server to be launched after this, we see siege formation has been removed, practice option has been removed, and reduces the maximum level grid that a grid can be developed from 8 to 7. This is going to be a big one. So siege formation, I literally just made a video about how to be useful to your team by using your siege formations. So obviously that's not great, but that's the price we pay for being a content creator for a new game, right? But what I think is happening here is like convincing people to be in siege formation, the cost benefit of siege formation, the fact that it slows you down and stuff. I make folks leave the capacitor at the door. Like, all that was apparently too complicated. So they're removing siege. Practice is weird. I don't know if anybody was abusing practice. I know that there is a strategy right now where you take... So you can take Vexer and then, like... I think it's Santa Mona and Paladin Crusader. Put them in a Vexer and attack a site that has the Santa Mona Vexer as the first defender, and you'll draw. But you'll draw in such a way that nobody doesn't, like, you barely do any damage to each other. And so you could just keep that going forever, and it'll just level you all the way up to level 50 eventually, giving you a little bit of experience each time. So I don't know if it's necessarily to counter that. I honestly don't know why they would want to remove practice. Practice, to me, was just a good way for somebody who wasn't in a corp to be able to do training, right? Because in order to be part of the... In order to use the normal training room, the practice area, the proving grounds, you would have to be in a corp that had that unlocked. So maybe they're trying to force people to join corps instead of staying out of corps. Likewise, that removal of the grid development from 8 to 7... Level 8 grids are already pretty rare to find. Like, there's competition over level 8 grids, given how sparse they are. So, right now, you can actually level 30 of your own grids to level 8. And that creates a pretty good baseline for anybody. But it also makes it that the level 8s that you find in space aren't as interesting, because you already have 30 of your own level 8s. It seems that they really want people to go out there and hunt for level 8s, 9s, and 10s for them to use, and this forces that to happen. It also means that you will not be able to have... I don't think level 8s spawn in high sec. So this really does shove into people's face that if you can't get to low sec because your corp doesn't have a gate to low sec, your economics is really, really screwed. So, yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how these balance changes work. Next, rig and implant fix. They were talking about how the team is targeting a fix for rigs having lower stats displayed than in the crafting window. This does mean that all implants are going to... All epic and legendary implants are going to be re-rolled. So you're going to have to check to see whether or not your implants are still good after this change. Black had his incitement ability was not working. That's his 3 red stars, so very few people will even be noticing that. Janice has Noble Baptism. Shoot, I didn't check that one. Noble Baptism. Hold on. If we're going to be doing this, I might as well... Let's hope nobody tries to message me or something. So, let's see. If we go... Janice. Which one was it? Noble Baptism. There we go. So Noble Baptism was not working correctly. This is the one that absorbs 108 offense and 108 tactics from one commander and grants them to your commander for 2 turns. That's really strong, but it's his 2 red star. The Stormbringer. The Stormbringer fixed an issue with the module Ionic Field Projector not working correctly. Reduces all damage of all enemy commanders by 6.4% and inflicts quick response on your lead commander in the first 3 turns. So that wasn't working correctly, but will. Vepis. Okay, so Vepis has been a bit of a contentious figure. I would say, actually, at this point, this is the end of the good news. Okay? Do you think the removal of the siege formation will mean that teams still have a set siege damage for a station attack still? I mean, there has to be some sort of fix for it, right? Because if everything's only doing 150 siege damage, that's going to be... Maybe that's why they lowered the amount of damage. Remember they lowered the health of the structures, and then that made like sieging kind of trivial. Maybe this is the counter to that. Maybe they're just removing the need for there to be siege damage ships. I mean, siege rigs still exist, and they should still exist, in my opinion. All right. What's really weird is, so the question that I have is what happens to the ships and pilots with siege mode, right? Well, these are all gold, so I don't really remember which ones, if any of these have siege. Wow, none of the gold ones have siege. Is that true? Huh. Cool. I did not know that. Learn something new. But like this Algos, right? It has siege mode as one of its types. And definitely some pilots have siege mode. You've got Santa... Nope. Wait. Yeah. Flaherty is siege. Karen is siege. So it'll be weird to see... Like, because usually those only count if you're in that formation. So they're going to have to work out what that means going forward. But this patch note doesn't really let us know. Pomic? Yeah. All right. Vepis. Change talent for application overload to kinetic damage resistance from force shield gaining. So Vepis is an interesting character. He is both incredibly overpowered and not working correctly. So the problem is that his first ability here, which gives him a 100% chance to stack 1 force shield for the first 3 turns. Normally you want to put him with the Dramiel. In fact, he's even suggested in the guide to go with the Dramiel. And his A3... Hold on. Got it. Okay, so his A1... No, this doesn't fix him. This doesn't fix him at all. This is so weird. Okay, somebody lied to me yesterday. All right, so the problem here is that this force shield that we have here, this force shield doesn't stack with other force shields. So if he puts this force shield on at the beginning, and then the Dramiel attacks, right? The Dramiel has this thing here, where it's a barrage ability. So every time the Dramiel attacks, it has a chance to trigger this thing. And you can up its percentage by leveling it up, I'm pretty sure. But when it fires, it gives you 2 force shields. But if you already have Vepus's Force Shield, it won't stack those other two up. But if you don't have Vepus's Force Shield, then it'll continue to stack these things pretty much indefinitely. So a good example is, like, I have Men's who gives me rapid fire, so I'll shoot with the Dramiel twice. Each of those can independently trigger this ability, which means that the Dramiel ends with 4 stacks of Force Shields. But if Vepus has already put his Force Shield on that turn, and it hasn't been broken yet, then those 4 Force Shield stacks don't get applied at all. They get skipped. So that's what I mean by he's a little bit buggy and broken. And as far as I know, that isn't part of the fix. What's really bizarre about that is if you go back down to his thing, you can see that his A3, nope. Yeah. Increases damage by 35% for every stack of Force Shield your ship has got. Additionally, increases damage if Vepus is lead commander. So that ability implies... Hey, Stoic07, thank you for that. Hey, I appreciate it, Stoic. I will keep that in mind. So when the Force Shield... Like, this thing implies that the Force Shield is supposed to stack. But this thing makes it so that the Force Shield doesn't stack on the same character. That's what I mean by he isn't quite working correctly. But the fix that they put in is for another piece of his ability. And this is where he gets really, 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 really OP, okay? This is why people use him even when, given that thing that I just talked about. So, he has an 80% chance to gain an extra turn anytime that he gains Force Shield. And then, but also, this gives him a 80% chance to gain a Force Shield when he loses his last Force Shield. So what happens is somebody hits him, right? So you have a Force Shield up, right? You take a hit that gets rid of that Force Shield. He then automatically reapplies another Force Shield, and that application of another Force Shield gives him an extra turn. That's the problem. That is how he becomes like this rapid fire chaos dude, because then he gets another chance of doing the counterattack moment, and I guess it only really matters for the counterattack moment, right? Which then matters depending on how many stacks of Force Shield he has. So he's got 1. So boom, that hits. That's cool. And he gets, but more importantly, he lost a Force Shield and gained a Force Shield. And this happens every single time he loses a Force Shield. Which, remember, the Force Shield clears all damage off. So, ignoring the Dramiel's ability to apply Force Shield onto itself, Vepus alone at 2 red stars continually reapplies his own Force Shield every time it pops, giving him additional turns and counterattacks, okay? So this is the part that's being nerfed. They are removing the extra turn component of it, and instead are just making it so that it increases kinetic damage resistance from gaining the Force Shield. Not sure if this is going to stack or anything like that, or just be a bonus one that's a one-time thing. Probably it's going to stack. So now, when you take a hit, you're going to lose your Force Shield, and but that's it, right? But then, if you do gain a Force Shield, either from his start of turn thing, or from the Dramiel, or whatever, then it'll still trigger this extra turn and give you additional kinetic damage resistance when that happens. But you're not going to get that extra Force Shield when your Force Shield breaks. I know, it's pretty complicated, it's pretty confusing. Vepus is considered to be incredibly OP right now, and this feels like a small fix to try to bring that back in line. Now then, Yorless. Now we get to go to the things that make me sad. Anybody know what the Eve Echoes Discord is? I mean, if you DM me in Discord after this, I will shoot you the Eve Echo's Discord. I'm pretty sure I'm still in it. Where were we? Yorlis and Men's. Hold on, let's go back to... There you go. Oh. Yeah, we're talking about Eve Galaxy Conquest. All right, so in the patch notes, I have to shrink it again. We have Yorlis. Fixed an issue that talent ballistics tracking was not working correctly. That's actually good. So if we go to Yorlis, ballistics tracking is his 3 red stars. Increased chance of activating barrage modules by up to 34% in the first 3 turns of battle. This is one of the things that makes him really, really strong in the Dramiel. Because basically the way the barrage modules work is that anytime you do a direct fire, anytime that the ship itself shoots, all of the barrage modules have a chance to fire. Okay? And if we look at the Dramiel here, we can see this is a barrage module, this is a barrage module, this is a barrage module, and this is a command module. So all 3 of these things have a chance to go off every single time that the Dramiel fires, and his thing increases the chance that those will happen, making it very, very strong, right? There's other ships that are good at barrage modules, like, for instance, the Maelstrom also would be a really good one for that. Yeah, but this is going to fix that. But now, reduce damage rate of marked shot, which is his 2, from 104% to 88%. So almost 20% nerf to his damage on marked shot, and a 10% nerf from 119% to 155% for resonant strike. So here's how this works, okay? Yorlis and Men's together are a beast, because Men's has energy beam that this one just happens all the time, but mark shot has a chance to fire anytime you do direct damage. Resonant strike has a chance to fire every time you do a direct attack. Men's, this has a chance to fire every single time you do a direct attack. This one gives you rapid fire, which gives you 2 direct attacks. And this ability has the chance to happen anytime you do a direct fire. So what this means is my Men's Yorlis comp in a Dragoon, or in a Dramiel, has a chance to do, I think it was 12 to 14 different abilities every single turn, including 10 different attacks and 4 force shields every single turn. So, yeah. So we're going to see how, so they've nerfed the Yorlis damage, and now, and then also fixed an issue that talent preload technology was not working correctly. Which one is that? That's the, so his A3, or sorry, his 3 red star, both ballistic tracking and preload technology both were not working correctly, which is his chance of initiating barrage modules and chance of doing high energy beam, which is his #1 attack. So his 3 red stars was broken, but now it's better, but in every other way he's worse. Now let's go on to Men's. Men, I'm so sad. Here are some nerfs. Men's assassination deep damage. Let's scroll this up so that way you can see it. Assassination deepen damage nerfed from 210%. You can see right here. It's 210% maximum. Down to 94%. That's cutting the damage of this ability by more than half. It still has its neural shutdown. Next, his Assassination Shadow Tactics, which is his third ability, goes from 285% to 197%, which is cutting it by almost 1/3. Actually, a little bit over a third, I think, of its damage being cut for Shadow Tactics. Next, Explosive Charge. Sorry. Reduce the trigger chance from Master Marksman, which is his 2 red star ability. Instead of increasing the trigger chance by 30%, it only increases the trigger chance by 10%, which is ridiculous to me because it's already hard to justify. Like, why would you go for the 2 red star ability over the normal ability? Like, rapid fire, especially given the fact that his abilities trigger every single time you do a direct fire, rapid fire is very, very strong. The only reason why you would want to get the 2 red star, in my opinion, is if you've already got something that can dedicatedly bring you rapid fire, so you don't need it. But even then, you're getting 10% additional chance of triggering. So it's 55% chance and 60% chance instead of 45% chance and 50% chance. That seems very lame to me and a big nerf. Master Precise Strike is his augmentation to that 2 red star, which is... Where was it? Sorry. Master Precise Strike from 55% to 42%. So almost over a fifth cut down with this. Deals kinetic damage to the target after initiating assassin skill. So basically what his 2 red does is it makes it so his 1 and his 3 fires off more often, and his augmentation makes it do additional damage. So what they're doing is they're making it so that the chance is reduced and the damage it does when it happens is also reduced, both on the assassin skill itself and on this Master Marksman augmentation. So just nerfs across the board. Now, Explosive Charge, which is his 3 red star ability. So again, you now need to have a 3 red star mens in order to make this work. So the damage for Explosive Charge goes from 125% to 136%, so 10% additional. And the damage rate of Explosion Mastery, which is the augmentation, goes from 70% to 77%, so 10% increase. So they're nerfing everything about mens except for the 3 red star ability. So if your mens is just meh, he just got trashed. Only if your mens is actually like decked out, only if you wailed to get your mens, does your mens get anything beneficial back to you. But you're still getting all of those other losses. So it's going to be interesting. Mens was considered extremely strong back in the day, or, prior to this. So it's going to be able to see whether or not he hangs at all after all of these nerfs. Now, to make things even weirder, we now leave the nerfs behind and we go to more buffs. And of course, who do they buff? Santa Mona. Santa Mona is, of course, the one that you get for free when you come into the game for doing the progression track. You get all the way up to basically, I think, 3 red stars with Santa Mona by the end of it. I have her somewhere in my group. Hold on. Where do I have her? Do I? No, I'm not even using her at all. That's really funny. I think I've gotten another one of her, but yeah, clearly I had enough to three red star her. Santa Mona. Yeah, it's Christmas time, exactly. So Santa Mona is a very meh character. She's 100% repair, okay? So we see durability repair, which is her first ability, is being increased from 106% to 121%. Operational recovery, which is her number 2 ability, is going from 75% to 84%. Her ability vigor, which is the augmentation to operational recovery, is going from 85%, from 75% to 85%. And her tune-up, which is her 3 ability, is also going... Wait. Oh, she's got 2 abilities named Vigor? Well, that's dumb. Okay, so her 3's Vigor is what's being increased to 85% from 75%. And then System Maintenance is her 2 red star, and it's going to 46% from 14%, which is just a raw increase to your repair amount on everything else. And that's it. So Santa Mona is getting buffs almost across the board when it comes to how much she reps, where Men's is getting nerfs across the board on how much damage... Well, not across the board, but nerfs in a lot of positions for how much damage she does. This does mean that Santa Mona, like that Vexor fleet that you run into out in space, the NPC one, is going to be that much harder to kill now. Thank you, Apex. I don't know. That's going to be a pain in the ass, I think. Next, Karth. Karth is also extremely strong. Under the right conditions. Karth, protection. So his 3-star augment. So again, you have to have 3 red stars with him to even access this ability. Goes from 10 armor to 12.5 armor. Okay, cool. Next is a bunch of buffs for Jonas, because again, they're trying to make fetch cool. Jonas, by the way, is a complete piece of crap even in the story, so don't think that he's redeemable. I mean, he's not as bad as like Karsoth or Anvent or any of those guys, but he is... The story gives him way too much credit, too, because, like, he wasn't the guy who saved Phalanx Range. He was the one who wanted to airlock Phalanx Range. But I digress. Either way, enhanced strategy. No. Enhanced strategy, which is his base 3, goes from 40% to 60% trigger rate. Which increases his kinetic damage by up to 8.4% stackable. So basically, every turn, you have a 60% chance of increasing your kinetic damage by 8.5% stackable throughout the turns. That's pretty interesting and cool. Ironhide was not working correctly. Ironhide is his 2 red star ability. When the amount of ships your squad in a fleet is less than or equal to 40%, reduce kinetic damage by 14%, or up to 28%. So that helps save your fleet when it's getting to be critically low. Defender, which is the augmentation for Ironhide. Normally, it gives a 4th shield for 1 turn after taking damage. They're increasing that from 50% to 60% at its maximum level. So I assume... I honestly don't know if that's every time you get hit, or if that's every time you get hit when you're below 40% health. Maybe somebody can correct me on that. Maybe I should play around with it a little bit. And then Braveheart is his augmentation to his 3 red star ability. When the ship when the amount of ship squads in your fleet is less than or equal to 40%, increase damage rate by a 282%. So this is a guy who really wants to fight at 40% power. But even that, like that 282% just puts them at basically at 40% strength. They fight as if they're at 100% strength. This is why we mean. This is what I mean by Jonas is kind of super meh. But there you go. There you have it. That is the patch notes for Eve Galaxy Conquest. Notably, there are a few things. Like I said, Vepus's ability that would change, or Vepus's inability to stack force shields. That doesn't appear to be fixed. There's a couple of other ones that people talked about where they had said they were saying that there was something that was supposed to get fixed, but then it didn't. Where was it? I don't know. It's going to take forever to figure that out. There's at least one thing that they were talking about. It was supposed to get fixed in the patch, but it's also not in the patch. Oh, pirates. The pirates spawning level 8 or level 9 and level 10 pirates continue to be elusive. Hard to say what's going on with that. But yeah. But that's it for Eve Galaxy Conquest. Obviously, so it sounds like most of these changes are going to go live pretty soon. I did update my app, but obviously looking at the app right now, I'm still working with all of the old numbers. So that's clearly not what they were talking about. Hold on, I gotta send some people home. All right. But that's about it. And that is, I think, all of the news I had to talk about today. Do we have more to talk about? We did Frontiers. Like last time they forgot to change. Wait, hold on. Are you saying that they did this actually come into effect? I don't think this is in effect yet. Here, let's try it. I'm going to deploy her and see her capacitor. We're going to watch her capacitor. Yep, nope. Do I own the structure here? Oh, wait. Never mind. This is not my sovereign territory. I don't have anything there. It is in effect? All right, guys, here's the last thing, okay? I have gotten really big in Marvel Rivals. Like, really big into Marvel Rivals recently. Oh, hey, Malik. I want to play Marvel Rivals for you guys and talk about it, but I understand it's not Eve. But boy, howdy. I was thinking about doing Marvel Rivals on the Decanted channel, like on a second channel, if people are interested in it. But I also might just play it some here today. But either way, as soon as the stream is over, I'm going to go play the hell out. If you want to get into Marvel Rivals with me, please. Like, if Marvel Rivals is what Overwatch wanted to be. That's why you have the second channel. Exactly. I'm going to figure it out. Okay. Let's see. Dang it, everybody's like all off in the middle of nowhere right now. Hold on. So this is sovereign territory, right? Yeah, we own the system. So if I go over here and I deploy, then I should be able to see no capacitor drain. And yep, we're not seeing a capacitor drain. Check my stores. Oh yeah, I did notice that the store was different. But I noticed that before I patched. I don't see... Well, maybe it's too late to get the implants. Oh, what'd I get? By the way, for those of you who are wondering, like, oh, what do you do when Jita's taken? The answer is earn ISK, make implants. That's kind of nice. Oops, did I just make an epic one? God damn it. And if we go back to him now... Yep, they've still got 120 capacitors, so obviously it is in effect now. So these patch notes are live. Merry Christmas, Ash. Hope you and your loved ones have a great one. Thank you so much, Gary. I have updated. Hold on. Literally just did. Oh, I can update it again. Google Play Pass for 1 month. I thought I already have Google Play Pass. Whatever. Doesn't mean tooltips will be correct. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, that's why I can't see the D store. Possibly. 19% done, guys. Ah. Cannot see the build help spam. Oh no. Punch coming in with 15 months of members. Thank you for that. Like the stream for the cat, the guineas, the pupper, and the Zed. Oh, the pupper. Oh, he was sleeping too. Like, why are you putting me on show? I just want to sleep. I just want to sleep. Come on. 55% done. How's your guys' winter fuel festival stuff going? Ours has been going pretty good. I got ganked by a endurance, but you know, that was my fault. I've been making pretty good progress. Go look. So far I am this far through. So I feel like the ice mining is a pretty good way to make this to get the points, I think. What ships were what ship am I in? In Eve? I'm in an endurance. If you want to help me have a good Christmas and support the stream and get those cool emotes and access to the supporter channel and Discord, consider becoming a member or a patron or just tipping or sharing it with other people. Well, you don't get the bonus stuff for sharing it with other people, but I do appreciate it and really does help out. Yeah, I got ganked by an endurance while flying an endurance. Correct. Well, because only only certain ships can get into the mining site, so you're not going to get ganked by like an Orthrus or something like that. So, you know, here you go. My understanding, like, I went to go look up this guy's fits. I'm pretty sure he fits a blaster. You're trying to hit me with a snowball. Sorry. It's 100% done. Yes, you have a mission to hit. It doesn't have to be me, though. Here we go. I've been working on a Eve Galaxy Conquest Mega Guide kind of thing. Ooh. Okay. How'd I get... Oh, yeah, I've got 6 tickets. That's why. Chief Commander, today is the final day of the mission, and you've done an excellent job. Over these 6 days, I've come to realize that you're an outstanding Chief Commander. You'll surely reclaim Jita in the future. The future's in your hands. Let us witness the day of your success together. Oh, I assume that that's because my progression plan has gone... Yeah, it's gone to 6 days. Whatever. Cool. Oh, I see. Yeah, there's all the spam. Request to help upgrade control tower. How do I... Help all? How do I help people? Help all. Somebody's helped me speed things up? I've learned loyalty points. I have no idea what just happened. Okay. Now let's go look at... Vepis? Yeah, Vepis is probably going to be the best one to look at. %40 chance to reduce received kinetic damage by 4.7% when all force shields are depleted. This effect can stack up to 2 times, lasting for 2 turns. So yeah, the tooltips are updated in the new version. I just hadn't updated them yet. So I did that on purpose so that way I could show you guys the old information. That's how much I think ahead. I think ahead so much that I'm like, oh man, I can't update this yet. I need to update midstream to show it to you guys. That's the amount of attention to detail I put into this stream. Please like and subscribe. What is this? Corporation guide. Okay. Siege on a station. Siege rewards. Cool. Cool. Somebody else needs help. Hey, I'm gonna help you, man. I don't know what I needed to... I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm losing by helping. Am I losing resources? Oh, hey, I could add me. Yeah, okay. That's the. I can add the new stuff. That's cool. What was the other thing? Oh yeah, the new store. DD market. When fitted by Dragoon, increases kinetic damage of all your wings and commanders by 19% in the first 3 turns. Why do they do this to me? Oh yeah, okay, never mind. It does have drones. That's true. That's fine. That makes sense. I'm about to say, if it only has 1 wing and it improves wings, then I'm going to lose my mind. The apocalypse, initiating active talent skills by 4.2% for all your commanders when engaging in the battle with neutral or enemy stations or stargates. The Orthrus gets, when fitted by an Orthrus, 55% chance to increase your data rate by 6.8 when an Orthrus has dealt damage with direct fire, stackable up to 6 times. And Jonas gets, when fitted by Jonas, reduces your data rate by 11.5, deals 1 to 2 attacks of kinetic damage to all enemy wings at the beginning of the 4th and 6th turns. See, even Jonas is like, hey. Thank you for that, Punch. Yeah, I don't. Garissa's loots, chance to gain ship exclusive rigs, commander exclusive implants, industrial blueprints, Garissa's tags, mega sites. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I would need 20 fucking rigs. Also, what currency is this? Garistas tags. How do I get Garistas tags? Do I kill Garistas? Oh, why are Caldari called squids? So there's 2 reasons. There's 2 reasons why the Caldari are called squids. One is calamari. Like, that's the basic one. But also, hold on. Really? Where is it? There you go. 37th. That's what it is. There's a thing. There's a group called the 37th Octopus Squadron. The 37th Octopus Squadron is basically the Capsuleer Squadron within the Caldari Navy. So that's the other reason why they're called squids. Calamari and Octopus Regiment. By the way, I think that the Octopus Regiment is like the like the who was part of the Octopus Squadron? Yeah, Fatal and the Rabbit both came from the Octopus, the 37th, and they were also part of the fight for the Shiguru during Operation Spectre. You see the Twitch stream for Frontier? I have not. I gotta go check that out. Oh shoot, I got rewards and I didn't even check. God damn it. Do I now have 1? I have 0 still. What? How do you get Garistas tags? I do like the fact that the... Wait, hold on. That was good. If I click on that... Oh, when I search for it, if I go here and I hit search, and I get a Garistas, it doesn't give me the other options. I don't accidentally capture the cell with the Garistas on it. That is actually really nice. Can we not? Oh, store. Wait, what? Hold on. What? Hold on. What? This is new stuff. I guess I'm just gonna pay that one for free. And that one's for free. So for 20 bucks I can get 10 pulls? Man, these guys overvalue this shit so much. Wow. Wow. What was all that spam? Wow, the spam is so different now. Let's see if we can find... Hold on. Are the logs any different? What about if I... Hold on. What if I watch the replay? No, they still fade away. I was asking them to keep that, but like it flips by on the outside world. It shows you like all the stuff that has been happening. Are those Logi? Oh, those are Logi drones. They really seem to be in control for a while. And then suddenly... There's a big hit. When do I kill them all? Corrosion. I guess it just takes... That's why it takes 7 turns, huh? That's a big hit. I wish you could rewind. That's another... Yeah, okay, so that... What is that ability? I guess that is the catalyst that's doing that, maybe? No, Serb. Serb launching combustion strike. Boom. Interesting. Well, they're working on it at least. They've made the exterminate stand out a lot more. Wonder how a battle like that would go in Eve. A catalyst fleet is pretty squishy. Yeah, but I mean, like, what is the Scythe's gonna do? Oh, whoops. Apparently my connection to my computer got wiped out, and that's what got rid of that. So, boop. Let's get rid of that. All right, well, I think that's about it for today then. I did say a shorter stream, and it is about 2 hours, which is about normal. So, but we don't go for Windows. No, that's literally the... So, honestly, here's another, like... Look, guys, I don't make a shit ton of money doing this at all. As much as certain gifts in the chat today, which I really appreciate, say otherwise. No, so, you know, I live pretty minimally. But my cords are not necessarily the most up-to-date, and I do have a dog and a cat and a bunch of things that like to destroy cords. So all you got there was this, you know, I have it tethered to my computer, and I bumped my cord in the wrong way and lost connection. I could just, you know, restart it. It should work again. Oh. Really? See, now it's working again. Which I'm just using a thing called screen copy. You can actually... I have a terminal right there. So I'm just using that to capture my my game. That's how I do that. But yeah. All right, let me know what I should cover tomorrow or what I should do tomorrow, because I have no idea. But I'm tired. And I want to go play Marvel Rivals. So, that's all your news for today. I've been Ashrothi. I've been playing this game since 2010, talking about it since 2012, and I'm here to be even context for you, my fellow Empyreans. Thank you guys for coming, checking out the stream, hanging out. Love you guys. Thank you for all your contributions, sharing the stream, liking it, commenting, subscribing, giving it to your friends. helping us maximize player engagement with EVE Online and literacy in the game. I've been Ash Rothy, the voice of New Eden, and until next time, I'll see you in space. 07, guys. Buy some merch. I don't have any examples on me right here. Where's coffee cup? Merch. All right. I'm out. We may revisit Frontier lore tomorrow if need be. Let me know if you're interested in that.
Bring on the wrecking machine.
Thank you so much, Stoic. That was very awesome of you, by the way. Well, then we might wait. If that's the case, see, I can pause it. Holy shit. If that's the case, what I might do is either not, if my stream happens at the same time as their stream for Frontiers, I will probably wait till afterwards. But what I want to do is take that stream and dig into it afterwards, because that shows anything that I can like talk about. And I'm pretty excited about that. So, yeah, get in with the Discord, get on the Discord for up-to-dates of what's going on with the stream and all that stuff. But bye!
Every city you burn, I'm gonna build high. Bring on the wrecking machine.
Sorry, one more time. I'm sorry. Cody did point out to me earlier, less than 24 hours remain before launch of Founders Access. So apparently that's coming tomorrow.
Setting your dreams of heaven on fire. Bring on the wrecking machine. Bring on the wrecking machine. Bring on the wrecking machine. Gonna ignite your every desire. Bring on the wrecking machine. For every city you burn, let it burn, let it burn, let it burn. For every city